welcome back to the 10th episode of Low Key Track. I'm DJV, your host. It's been a minute since I've posted an episode, but, I wanted to kind of get back into it. Had some life stuff happen, but I am here and ready to talk more about music. With this episode, I am looking at Beach House. So in my little bit of a hiatus, I have been very obsessed with Dream Pop. It has become a genre that is now my go-to, even more so than the hip-hop and R&B that I have been navigating my entire life. And I really find myself drawn to Dream Pop nowadays. I don't know what it is, because it is the type of genre that I think I would have hated as a kid, because I'm like, it's not hype, there's no point, the subject matter is, whatever, and it just didn't fucking resonate with me, I guess, as a kid. And now I find myself drawn to it as I hit the beginning of my 30s. I found myself with a couple of friends, and they're big music heads, and they like Dream Pop a lot. One such example is the album Loveless, and Knowing. It's considered a very influential album within Dream Pop, shoegaze, that genre, those genres of music. I gave it a listen, and I was not that big a fan of it. I kind of like the more psychedelic, poppy, synthy kind of style that this genre represents. And don't get me wrong, I think I acknowledge Loveless for what it is, and I acknowledge that it is in fact a very musically dope album, just not my style. I can't do hard rock. That's still a genre I think I'm getting more used to. That being said, I'm not here to talk about Loveless. I'm here to talk about Beach House and their most recent album, Once Twice Melody, which has been a regular rotation album for me as I've been working throughout the day. For those of you that I feel like you all know Beach House by now. I don't need to go into an explanation. But Beach House is super dope. I've been trying to listen to all their albums, but this one is currently the one that I really like. It's called Once Twice Melody, and it's pretty much my ideal Dream Pop album. I really like a lot of the stuff that comes out of this album. I love a lot of the atmospheric synths. I love the drums. I love the very simple melodies that kind of invoke a very, like, you look like that SpongeBob meme where you have your headphones on and you're just floating in the air. That's what this album does to me, essentially. The low-key track on it, and for those of you that may not know what the low-key track is, it's the least streamed song on an album. I go off of Spotify. That's because that's just what I use. So it could be different on another streaming platform. But on Spotify, at least, it is the song Many Nights, which is about 1.6 million streams. And I want to understand why that is. So I don't know. I'm just going to get right into it. Basically, from what I understand and from what I learned, seeing how this album was rolled out, it's rolled out into, looks like, chapters. And there's 4 chapters, and they were all released at different times. And I know Beach House did like a tour to support the album. So this specific song is in the last chapter, or disc 4. Excuse me, so I take my little sip of water. And it is part of, the end of the album as a total. It's also the second to last song on the album if you listen to it in chronological order. So what I think is the fact that it was released in 4 separate parts kind of hurt it a little bit. And by then, I think everyone was just kind of Beach House out. I think Beach House seems like one of those bands that kind of goes and ebbs and flows. And don't get me wrong, they clearly have a fan base. It's almost 15 million monthly listeners on Spotify as of this recording. But it seems like it's one of those bands that really, like, when people hear Beach House drop a new song, they'll go and listen to it, but maybe not revisit it as much. Could be wrong there, of course. If you're a hardcore Beach House fan, good for you. Love it. I mostly discovered them the same way I think a lot of people who listen to the type of music that I listen to discover them, which is the fact that Kendrick Lamar sampled them. Not the only rapper to sample them, of course, but that's probably the most famous one. So the thing that I think separates Many Nights from a lot of the other songs in the album is that it feels like it's more trance-like. And I say this because within the genre of dream pop itself, and especially within this album, there are a lot of different subjects covered in terms of just like heartbreak, in terms of things that pop music generally covers, like, heartbreak, love, adventure, being free, et cetera, et cetera. Think of all the cliches you can think of. Pop music covers it. But Dream Pop particularly separates itself from that pack because it takes these subjects and dives into it a little bit deeper, and it also does not so friendly subjects: depression, suicide, anxiety, mental health, and it does it really well. I think Beach House does a good job of kind of conveying a lot of this on the album. They definitely dive into the darker side of being human, and on this particular song, from what I can interpret, it's really more like a will they, won't they situation. And they're just trying to be in the moment and spend as many nights as they can with one another. So in terms of that, I think that probably why it might be the low-key track is because it's not as immediately poppy. It's more of a trance kind of situation going on, and it's developing a little bit of a story that kind of glides along with it. I think it's a really great song. It's definitely not immediately accessible, immediately catchy, especially not compared to like the title track, which has 20 million streams. And it's pretty clear why, because it's, I think, one of the more catchier songs in the album. So what I'm at least interpreting from this is I think that there's a lot going on within the project itself, and there's so much to dig in here from like a dream pop perspective, because I think it encapsulates a lot of what I personally like about dream pop. Again, if you are not a huge fan of the overly synthy, overly programmed drums, the more simple melodies, this might not be your album, but what can I say? I'm a little bit of a dream pop girly in that case, so I thoroughly enjoy it. The other thing I think I like about I guess Beach House as a whole, really, not just extending beyond Once Twice Melody, is that it's something that I actually really disliked before, which was I didn't like the very numb vocal delivery. I liked something with a little bit more heart, a little bit more passion, and like a little bit more showy, if that makes sense. Like here, at least with something like Beach House and with some of the other dream pop artists that I've listened to, they seem to focus very more so on like a sort of a numb vocal delivery. And it's not something that I was a particularly huge fan of. I think I've grown to like it. It's definitely more of an acquired taste for sure. One thing that I think the lead singer does really, really well is that she has a very good, like, little bit of a tinge in her voice when it comes to how her vocals mesh well with the instrumentals, and she feels like she's in control of the song, which I find to be very, very cool. And I think that the producers herself really do a good job of kind of complementing one another. And it shows on this album. And it feels like it's like a culmination of all of their other albums. It feels like there's a little bit of Bloom in here. There's a little bit of Depression Cherry in here. There's a little bit of, their debut in here. And everything's kind of coming together and displaying itself on full effect. Some may say, and I can definitely see the argument, that it could be a little bit overly produced. I don't know. I kind of like that. That's just me personally. I don't mind a good overly produced track. That being said, I also see the appeal to like a grungier, more unpolished sound as well, because it feels more real. Yeah. I don't think I have much more to say about that. I kind of just want to get it to the point. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on this album, on Beach House in general. If this is your favorite song on the album, that's super dope. I want to hear more about it. Please tell me. And if there's anything about Beach House that I missed, anything about Beach House that I think is a valuable perspective to add, please add it in the comments, share the video. I'd love to hear more about it, because as I'm kind of navigating Dream Pop is my new obsession. I would love to hear, any recs from you guys in terms of albums, songs, artists I should be listening to. So thank you guys for listening to the 10th episode of Low Key Track, available wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on social media at Low Key Track. And until next time, keep singing a good melody.